basketball presented by Regions. And welcome to Columbia, Missouri, and welcome to the start of conference play in SEC women's basketball. We begin with the defending national champions and defending SEC champs, South Carolina, at Mizzou Arena to take on the Missouri Tigers. Happy New Year to you from us, Eric Freed, Christy Thomas-Cuddy. Great to be with you as we start conference play here. And they are the queens of the hill right now. South Carolina, defending SEC champions. They start their defense here tonight, and there's no shortage of contenders to the throne this year in the SEC.
Absolutely. This is the most excited I can say I've been in probably 5 years, because I think this SEC race is really wide open. I will be surprised if anyone finishes this conference season undefeated.
Well, that's what South Carolina did last year. They definitely have the firepower to do it again. I get it. It's a very tough conference, but this is a tough team, a very deep team this year out of Columbia, South Carolina.
Absolutely. South Carolina, 7 of the last 9 years has finished first or second. And why? They do defense, they own the glass, and they have a great bench. Averaging 42 points a game is the bench, which is best in the country. That's more than the starters are averaging. They've got shooters, they've got post players, they've got players who can dunk the ball. But you see, more than half the points are coming from the bench. Rebounds just under 50%. It's the assist where it's really nice as well. It's just at 50%, and the blocks, 64%.
This is a Missouri team that has already matched their win total from all of last year. They have 11 wins. Grace Slaughter was really good as a freshman. She's kept it going as a sophomore for the Tigers.
She has improved from deep, shooting 57% from three, but it's when she gets downhill, going to her left, where she's been so good this year. She's shooting 55% with that left hand going downhill. The next step for this great sophomore is to have a dominant game in a big matchup.
South Carolina has won 47 in a row in regular season SEC play. Their last loss was here in this building a little over 3 years ago. It's Missouri, it's South Carolina, it's the start of SEC play. And we're underway. The opening tip controlled by the Gamecocks. Raven Johnson to Bree Hall. Hall defended by Lania Randall. Out top to Sanaya Fagan. Chloe Kitts in the high post. Tries it from outside. Nope. And a rebound pulled down by Ashton Judd. Judd in the starting five along with Slaughter, who's the leading scorer. Randall, who as I mentioned is the number 2 scorer. Avery Kroenke getting the start at the point. And Angie Galakaladny taking on South Carolina for the first time in her career. She's in the post and trying to score on the first touch. Can't get it. Pulled away by South Carolina. The starting five for the Gamecocks. You will see plenty of movement off the bench. Pow Pow on the drive. Follows her own miss. And a reset here for South Carolina.
And the offensive glass for South Carolina is a strength. So key for Missouri to force South Carolina into 1 and out.
Pow Pow, outstanding three-point shooter. 42% this season. Led the country last year at 47%.
Something that Mizzou worked on today was just some pressure released against the full court pressure of South Carolina. You're not going to see the point guard bring it up much if Raven Johnson's on them.
Well, second chance for Missouri. They have to cash in on those second chance opportunities if they're going to have a chance here against the number 2 team in the country. On the drive, a foul called on Pow Pow. Offensive foul on South Carolina. So the first team foul and first personal foul for Dawn Staley's team. Dawn with a low profile at the moment. Tucked in behind her associate Lisa Boyer. There's Judd. Judd on the drive, finishes with the left hand. Ashton Judd, the junior from West Plains, Missouri, number 3 on the team and scoring at 9 points a game. Pow Pow through traffic. And that time a foul is going to be called on Missouri. Robin Pinchton's team, 11-4 on the season. They beat Jackson State on Sunday, put 90 points on the board. Shot 54% from the floor in the first half and cruised from there.
And you see Mizzou in this 1-3-1 on the baseline out of bounds defense, and then they immediately try to get matched up.
Raven Johnson buries it from 3. Johnson got off to an ice-cold start this season from beyond the three-point line, but she is making up for lost time.
To your point, Eric, the first 5 games, 0 of 13, including this last 3. Since then, she's on 12 for 26.
Randall to Judd. Judd to Galikaladny, who draws the foul.
It starts with a dribble penetration by Ashton Judge, which forces Chloe Kitts to rotate. That's how Galikaladny was open getting to the rim. Pow Pow had no choice but to come over and stop that shot.
Well, it's costly because Pow Pow has picked up 2 quick fouls here in the first quarter. Pow Pow's played at an All-American level, but as you talked about just a moment ago at the top of our telecast, there's not a huge drop-off, if at all, when South Carolina goes to the bench this year. Oh, great job here by Missouri. Again, a second chance opportunity. Robin Pinchton said that's going to be one of the most important things for them to have success tonight. They have to be in the fight on the boards. That doesn't mean you win the rebounding battle. You just got to be in the fight. They've been in the fight a couple times here in the first few minutes.
Well, and it's a typical Robin Pinchton team. They're going to battle. I think the key for Mizzou is, can they keep it close? Because this needs to be a true 40-minute game for them. They've got to stay close here early.
All has it ripped away. Here's Kroenke. Tessa Johnson is on the floor for Pow Pow. There's Judd for 3. Yes, Ashton Judd hasn't tried it a lot from deep so far this year. She's 5 for 13, but she is a confident player and playing with confidence early.
This is the difference in Mizzou in the first couple of weeks in November to now. Ashton Judd's playing at such a high level. She's their best defender, in my opinion. So good in the full court, but it's the scoring options that's really enhanced this team.
Gets back outside to Johnson. And a foul away from the ball is going to be called on Galikaladny.
Well, we asked Robin Pinchton, what does Kroenke give your team? She's great defense. You see her just slide in there with the help defense. That allowed Mizzou to get out in transition, and just a little DHO, a dribble handoff. The defender goes under. Ashton Judd wide open for 3.
This is an improved defensive team for Missouri. Is it a good defensive team yet?
I think it's getting there, and I asked Robin Pinchton today, is this a team yet that feeds off your defense? She said, we're getting better, but I still think we feed off the offense first.
Grace Slaughter gave the shove to Johnson on the drive, so Mizzou picking up the fouls here in the first 3.5 minutes. That's 4 team fouls already on the Tigers.
And Slaughter needs to stay on the floor for Mizzou because she's that 4 player that gives ball handling, can stretch the floor, and can give some matchup issues to South Carolina.
Galikaladny had picked up the personal before. Christy, that's her 2nd personal foul. Missouri does not have the depth that South Carolina does. What team does, really, at this point? But that is going to be a key thing to watch. How Hannah Linthicum and those bench players can play with Galikaladny in early foul trouble. Jump ball. Possession arrow will give it to Missouri.
Randall's battling so far. She hasn't really made a huge impact, but she is battling. That time saved 2 points on their offensive rebound putback by Hall.
So Judd will put it into play for the Tigers. Here's Linthicum. Randall. Slaughter, all good defensive player, has that assignment. We showed you at the top of the telecast how good Slaughter is going to her left, and she scores on that trip.
Well, Eric, on the season, when Slaughter goes left, she's shooting 56%. When she's forced to go right, just 25%.
Johnson knocked away. Fagan kept it alive. Raven Johnson for 2. Raven went for 13 against Wofford in the last game for South Carolina before conference play began. That was a 93-47 win on Sunday at Colonial Life. They scored the final 22 points of that game. You were courtside for that game Sunday.
It is how this team can wear you down. Wofford played hard. They just didn't have anything in the tank in the fourth because they tried to do everything in their power to keep it close. Just too much South Carolina down the stretch.
Judd turned it over. That's just the first turnover for Missouri. That's going to be a key number to watch here today as well. Kitts.
ISO.
Tessa Johnson on the drive. Tough shot. Won't drop, but she'll earn a trip to the free throw line, and she'll take those free throws when we come back to Columbia. Tight one early here with the number 2 team in the country on the road.
Mizzou has shown up to play. It is Grace Slaughter. You see the patience, the pace, head fake till she can get the opening, and the starters, but the defense. And Robin Pinchton said it best today. She said everyone talks about their offense and rebounding, but their defense is so stingy as well.
Tessa Johnson at the free throw line out of the timeout to shoot a couple. Mylasia Full-Wiley is into the game for South Carolina along with Ashlyn Watkins. No Maddie McDaniel for South Carolina. She did not make the trip as she comes back from a concussion. The exciting, talented freshman point guard. So that depth tested a little bit here tonight for South Carolina.
Well, selfishly, I really wish Maddie McDaniel quick and healthy recovery because she's an exciting young player to watch.
Nia Wilson into the game for Mizzou. Here's Judd defended by Kitts. And tried to kick it outside. Turnover. It will be South Carolina basketball.
But that's a turnover Robin Pinchton will take if you're going to take a turnover because it leads to a dead ball. Allows Mizzou to get back and get solid in defense and prevent South Carolina getting out running.
Watkins, the handoff to Full-Wiley on the drive and a jump ball. Good job defensively by Missouri. Possession arrow will keep it with the Gamecocks.
Randall has the speed to match South Carolina. And you're sitting on this defensive possession, just a dribble handoff for Full-Wiley to get downhill, and she gets that hand on the ball to force the jump ball.
Randall getting in there defensively again to force the turnover. Needs some help and gets it. Wilson with the push. Judd with the skip. Trying to get Slaughter going to 3. No good. Off the miss, you see how quickly South Carolina gets down the floor. Kitts to clean up the mess.
And Eric, that's what's so hard about defending South Carolina. You're sprinting back to try to stop them in transition. Very rarely do you think about the miss and boxing out. Kitts there to clean it up.
Well, Full-Wiley getting in there defensively. Full-Wiley leans in, flips it up, and will head to the free throw line. Foul called on Nia Wilson. So 2 free throws coming up. First of 2 here tonight for us on the SEC Network. We'll take you to Fayetteville for 6th-ranked LSU and Arkansas at 9 o'clock Eastern time. Talented freshman Joyce Edwards comes on for South Carolina. Her first appearance, second on the team in scoring. It's funny when you talk about South Carolina, second on the team in scoring is 11 points a game. First on the team in scoring is 11.4 points a game. They're averaging as a team 81, but it is spread out really evenly.
And I'll tell you, as a former coach, it's a difficult team to scout because any of these players can go off on you, and that's hard when you can't just take away 1 or 2 options in terms of game planning.
Starts with defense, though, for South Carolina. They're turning over Missouri now at a pretty high rate. And here they come with Raven Johnson. Entry to Watkins, and Linthicum gets called for the foul. Mizzou's over the limit, so free throws coming for Ashley.
And that's the second on Linthicum as well. Already Galaklande on the bench with 2 fouls.
So what does Robin Pinchton do? She's going to go to Tiana Herron, who has not played a lot. This will be her 12th game of the season, played 3 minutes last game against Jackson State. You may be familiar with her story. She started her career at Texas. She started her career rather at Kentucky as a freshman, had heart issues, heart surgery, was at Texas, and now is at Mizzou, and she's going to get some minutes here tonight with foul trouble for the bigs for Mizzou.
I think it's going to be really interesting. Can Robin Pinchton afford to keep Linthicum and Galaklande on the bench the rest of this half?
9-0 run right now for South Carolina.
And this is the first time we're seeing the point guard, Kroenke, bring the ball up the floor in this game.
Well, Wiley making it difficult on Kroenke, who forced up a shot, and Watkins has the rebound. Watkins not afraid to put it on the deck, as we know, goes coast to coast for two. Timeout, Missouri. Nothing run for South Carolina as Ashlyn Watkins shows the handle and the finish.
It's just the versatility of Ashlyn Watkins, and she is so good in the open floor. I was watching her by half court. I'm like, no one has stopped ball yet. No one has stopped ball. She is too good off the bounce to let her get that deep, and there it's the touch as she's going full speed. That's really remarkable here. Just lays it off the glass.
11-0 run for South Carolina. It was an immediate timeout call by Robin Pinchton.
I like the timeout, too. You got to get everybody recentered, refocused, and just try to get 2 points on the board here and cut into this lead.
Do you think any of that timeout was Ashlyn Watkins talking to the former point guard, Dawn Staley, saying, look, Pow's got a couple of fouls. McDaniel's not with the team here today. How about me at the one for a little bit here tonight after you saw that handle?
Oh, watching her the last 3 years, I would say that it's her versatility that makes her so difficult to match up with. We just saw her on the perimeter knock the ball out. And one thing in terms of pressure release today Mizzou is working on is going through the fives, and I immediately was wondering, will that work against Watkins?
Edwards thought she had stood her ground, but she gets called for the foul.
I think it's important with Mizzou struggling to score that Randall gets going offensively, so I like that call. I like her trying to get to the rim and more so get to the free throw line.
I like what Robin Pinchton said about Lanaya Randall, who's new to this Missouri program. She played at Southern Illinois the last 3 seasons. She wants to be in the fight. She is someone who's going to give it her all. She's an excellent defender, leads the team in steals. Number 2 on the team in scoring. She's trying to do whatever she can to help her new team win this fight here tonight. But it is against one of the great heavyweights in college basketball. 7-point lead now for South Carolina as that run ends at 11-0. And foul is going to be called on Tiana Herron.
Well, Randall pregame was awarded with her 1,000th point ball. And Eric, this is a young lady that does a little bit of everything for Mizzou. She's only 5'11", and that might even be a stretch, but she leads the team in rebounding. And she's good defensively. We've seen her with a couple of tie-ups. We've seen her be active around the glass. Her ability to get downhill has been a good addition for Mizzou this season.
Watkins at the free throw line. South Carolina's been busy at the line so far here tonight because of the early fouls being picked up by Mizzou.
Well, of the 8 fouls called on Mizzou to this point, 5 of them have been on the bigs. Not a lot of depth there, so something to watch as this game continues. They went down to try to post Randall up, but Edwards was all over it.
Right now they're trying to post Slaughter up on Raven Johnson. Slaughter. Johnson, great job defensively. Watkins came over to help. Watkins gets the block. 25th block of the season for Ashlyn Watkins. But Wiley has it knocked away, and there's Lanaya Randall in the fight, knocking it away.
Well, talking about fight, Eric, it is Watkins. She rotates over to affect Slaughter's shot, then stays in the play, rotates to the weak side to get the block. And here's a matchup. Randall on full Wiley.
Full Wiley for 2. Advantage to the sophomore, averaging 10 points a game. Went for 11 points and 5 assists in the Wofford win most recently. Randall crosses against Edwards for 2. Closing in on a minute to go. Watkins can't get it to drop off the full Wiley pass.
I don't think you can play low side like that on Watkins. Mizzou got away with that one there.
Aaron finds Randall cutting to the baskets. Won't drop, and Johnson's got the rebound. Here's for Wiley. For Wiley, beautiful feed, but Edwards can't finish. Kroenke back the other way on the push. Abby Schreck, good shooter. And a trip to the free throw line coming for Avery Kroenke with 25 seconds to go in the quarter.
Avery Kroenke just makes really good decisions for Mizzou. Just a little hesitations how she's able to get by Raven Johnson and just attacks the interior defense of South Carolina.
First personal foul on Johnson. Well, Wiley will check out as Hall comes back on for South Carolina. Pau will come in for the final possession of the first quarter with the 2 fouls. Another one coming for Kroenke. We jumpstart conference play Saturday, full slate of men's hoop. You'll see Carolina, you'll see Mizzou, you'll also see 12th ranked Oklahoma, 5th ranked Alabama at 6, and a showdown between Texas and Texas A&M to cap the night at 8 Eastern time, right here on the SEC Network.
Well, Eric, currently 10 of the 16 men's teams are in the top 10. And why is Pau back on the floor? For offense.
Johnson. Edwards on the inside. Couldn't get it. South Carolina went very early on the game clock, and that has Missouri with plenty of time left. Down to 5. Kroenke on Johnson. Kroenke, Johnson, good job defensively, and that's how the first quarter comes to an end. South Carolina held Missouri to 31% shooting in that first quarter, and they lead by 8 as we head to the second quarter on opening nights in Como. 4 in the first.
And honestly, it could have been even worse for Mizzou because South Carolina did miss a couple of bunnies there at the rim. But if you're a Mizzou fan, you gotta love the fight that your Tigers have shown so far.
Second quarter underway with Randall.
And that
Ball back behind her.
Sorry, Eric, that was an ISO for Randall to try to get downhill going right, but help side was there.
Delilah Brown into the game. Here she is, number 1. 8 on the shot clock. Brown on the pull-up. Watkins kept it alive. Here's Pau once again playing with 2 fouls on the floor here to start quarter number 2. Johnson leans in and draws a foul on Randall. That'll be her first.
That was a nice read by Tessa Johnson, seeing that Randall was a little bit on the high side and then just took her baseline.
Obviously, Tessa Johnson, all Final Four team last season, averaged 10 points a game in the NCAA tournament. For the season, was a little over 6 points a game, 8.5 so far this year. I know you like her game. I think what you like more is how it's still going to develop because she hasn't reached her ceiling yet. She's not even close to it, in your opinion.
Absolutely. Last year, I thought she was great. I thought she got hampered by an ankle injury early in the year that she just fought through the entire season. You're seeing a healthy and stronger Tessa Johnson. Her ability to elevate with a jump shot is improved, in my opinion. She can hit it from deep. Her defense is the next stage. We saw today, coaches really on her because I think they believe in her upside as well.
Kroenke off the mark. Kitts has the rebound. One thing South Carolina statistically this season has struggled is defending the three-point line. They're last in the SEC in that category. Now, again, we're wrapping up non-conference play. Not every non-conference schedule is the same for teams in college basketball, and South Carolina has played some of the top teams in the country this year. But they have allowed just 2 3-point attempts so far. Turnover here for South Carolina, as they've been active trying to just deny what is a key part of Missouri's game, and that's making threes.
Well, twofold. First of all, South Carolina's strength of schedule coming in tonight is tops in the country, to your point.
Thank you.
And then the ball pressure, I think, has affected Mizzou's ability to get some of those open looks around the perimeter. And so I'm eager to see, because I said to Robin Pinchon today, I said I was eager to see if you could create scoring opportunities off the bounce. She said, no. We've got to do it as a team. It's about ball reversal, ball movement, and credit South Carolina for disrupting that so far.
Missouri is 8th in Division I, 39% shooting from outside the three-point line, and they are making on average just under 8 a game. So it's been a big part of their offense so far in picking up 11 wins. And here's their best three-point shooter, Slaughter at 57% off the mark. And a foul's going to be called on Randall. Got a little too aggressive. She picks up her second personal. So 2 on Randall, 2 on Galakaladny, and 2 on Linthicum for Mizzou here in the first half. Pow. To Hall.
Fagan was
out.
wide open.
Pow's wide open for 3. Couldn't get it. And the foul is going to be called on South Carolina. I saw Slaughter go flying. Fagan picks up the personal.
Fagan was open under the rim, and they missed her.
Judd. Slaughter.
One thing Mizzou said today, we've got to set good screens, but we have to use good screens. They're not coming off tight off of the screen so far today.
Randall takes it to the basket for 2. 6 points for Randall to lead Mizzou in scoring. Hall can't get it. And Fagan was battling against Demila Brown. I'm just going to say Brown is not the tallest player on the court, but she's in there fighting.
Well, size obviously doesn't matter because you see Randall getting downhill. And credit Mizzou because when they've gotten to the rim, they've used ball fakes to try to negate those shot blocking ability of South Carolina.
Slaughter trying to work against Fagan inside. No, batted out. And here comes Hall. Kroenke trying to get back on defense. Hall muscles her way to the basket. Count it, and the foul. Tough take by Bree Hall, and a chance for a three-point play.
Well, around half court, I thought Bree Hall got away with a little bit of push-off, but good call there. Kroenke not there in time. Great finish by Bree Hall.
So Kroenke picks up her first personal. She'll head to the bench. Tilda Sjökvist, the junior from Sweden who played at Presbyterian before coming to Missouri this season, will come in for the first time.
And Eric, I want to go back to that layup by Bree Hall. It's a small thing with South Carolina, but it's something that's consistent. Their strength. They very rarely get moved off of their straight line to the rim. And that was just a case in the last one by Bree Hall being able to get there.
Fagan got the offensive rebound, and Chloe Kitts is going to get called for over the back. It's drawing a protest from the South Carolina bench.
I think Roy Garbang's going to hear even more as he approaches Dawn Staley coming down the floor.
He's getting into Dawn's orbit right now.
Nice back door.
Back door. Slaughter for 2. Give the assist to Judd. This has always been part of a Robin Pinchton team, being a high assist team, sharing the basketball. But Wiley looking inside for Kitts.
Mizzou really small right now. Technically, all guards on the floor, so smart play by South Carolina to get it inside.
Kitts is going to get called again for over the back. So a couple of quick ones on Chloe Kitts.
And Roy didn't even make that call, but he's still getting an earful. So now watch the matchup of Fagan on Slaughter around the perimeter.
Gets out there with the 2. Judd clipped her own teammate Brown up in the nose, and they're going to stop play. And she's bleeding. Demila Brown took it right across the nose, but it was friendly fire from her own teammate.
Well, it was supposed to be a dribble handoff, and you see Judd kind of fake it, but Brown just keeps coming. Unfortunate for Brown.
We're taking a break here. I don't know if it's because they... Oh, well, they're going to go to the monitor here. This should be a quick review. Let them figure that out, and we'll take a commercial break and be back to Mizzou in a moment. Nose, it's a lip, so we'll watch it again. And it was a very quick review because they were just making sure it wasn't a South Carolina player that got in there. It was her own teammate, Ashton Judd, that got her in the lip. So it's going to be a fat lip and a cut there, but if you get in the nose, that deal with something a little bit more significant.
Well, and to the officials' credit, they said we're going to look for an unobserved foul. Obviously, you can't call a foul on the teammate, so play on. And unfortunately, it looks like Brown may be heading back to the locker room as well right now.
Well, we got the ice. The question would be, is there a stitch or two needed if it is that lower lip? So we'll keep an eye out for Delilah Brown's progress. Out of the media timeout because the officials stopped play to go to the monitor, so we took the media timeout there as well.
Eric, I talked about the screening of Mizzou, a little screen-the-screener action that they were just trying to run, and South Carolina beat them to all those screens. Mizzou's got to do a better job of setting up the screens.
Making Mizzou work for everything to get the ball in bounds here.
That's not an easy entry pass with Joyce Edwards on the ball.
Slaughter gets called for the travel. That's turnover number 5 for Missouri. Again, if you're going to, you'd rather not turn it over, and that's what Robin Pinchton talked about, but dead ball better than live ball every day of the week against South Carolina.
South Carolina's just so good in transition. They're averaging 18 points a game just in fast break. So, to your point, Eric, allows Mizzou to get set up defensively.
Watkins kicks it out to Johnson. Back to Watkins, who was grabbed by Randall. It's going to be 3 on Randall.
This is where the warrior part of Randall needs to take a step back and realize being on the court is more valuable to her team. She's got to avoid these fouls. I'm not sure Robin Pinchton knows it right now. They got to get off the court right now. They missed the window here. The coaching staff missed it, and trouble here for Missouri because Randall's on the court with 3 personals. Chokefist. On the cut again, Judd to Slaughter. Works again. Well, I like the fact that Mizzou's attacking the ball denial of South Carolina with a couple of these backdoor cuts.
A reminder, Randall's got to be really careful here. And right now she's marking up Ashlyn Watkins, which is a tough assignment. Judd works for the rebound. Here's Randall. Randall to Slaughter underneath. Here's Hall trying to answer back quickly for South Carolina. She traveled. Good crowd has turned out here in Mizzou Arena to ring in the new year and ring in conference play, and they're making noise right now.
Well, their Tigers are giving them something to cheer about. What do you do against a high-pressure team? You cut back door. Great pass by Ashlyn Judd to the cutting Slaughter for the 2.
Randall to the bench with the 3. Missouri has outscored South Carolina 8-4 here in this second quarter.
And Eric, they've done it with a small lineup on the floor. Technically just 5 guards.
Judd inside for 2 more. Mizzou's on an 8-0 run to make it a 2-point game. Here's full Wiley. And that's going to be a traveling violation. South Carolina is out of sync here in the second quarter. Why?
I think, first of all, Mizzou's scoring. That's allowing them to get back and get solid in the half-court defense, forcing South Carolina to have to execute in a half-court play. And immediately you see Dawn Staley go with the veteran Pow Pow and get her back on the floor.
Pow Pow picked up 2 fouls in the first quarter, but Dawn Staley hasn't liked what she's seen with how the offense is running. Again, we remind you, Maddie McDaniel out of the lineup here for a second straight game.
And you see Raven Johnson extend to the full court. She's on Shokfus now. And one thing about Mizzou is they said, we don't want to mess with Raven Johnson. We have too much respect for her on-ball defensive ability, so they bring someone else to initiate an offense.
Well, it's Robin Pinchton has gotten out here to try to attend to the cleanup. We've gone to some sort of solvent to work on things. We're going to a second towel, so you have a chance to break down something here if you want.
Well, I have been impressed with Mizzou's patience when they've gotten near the rim. Here you see Ashton Judd just feeling the defender, and then the beautiful footwork to extend herself, get away from the shot blocking ability of Edwards to finish.
Remember, South Carolina had an 11-0 run earlier in this half. That stretched them out to a 21-10 lead. You can see what the score says right now. And Slaughter gets called for the travel.
Not ideal for Mizzou. Again, another dead ball turnover. However, that's the shot blocking ability of why she's traveled on those 2 possessions. She knows that the defender's flying at her, so she's trying to get away from them off the bounce.
Johnson will bring it up against Wilson. Scoring drought approaching 3.5 minutes for the number 2 team in the country. Mizzou forces another turnover. That's 8 for South Carolina here in the first half.
Oh, that was just telegraphed. They were trying to get the ball to Edwards to go one-on-one, just telegraphed.
There's Schreck, defended by Johnson. Judd's been a good facilitator here today. Trying to direct traffic now with 7 to shoot. Judd to Slaughter. Watkins on the perimeter defensively. Slaughter blocked by Watkins, who kept it in play and starts the break for South Carolina. Wide open 3, no good. Long rebound to Shokfist. Shokfist showing no fear. Can't finish though, and a foul's going to be called on Judd. Mizzou's picked up 5 fouls, so 2 free throws the rest of the way. 2:53 to go in the first half for South Carolina. And Joyce Edwards will be stepping to the free throw line. Judd picked up her 2nd personal foul. So 3 on Randall, 2 on Judd, 2 on Galakalandi, and 2 on Linthicum for Mizzou. We talked about the balanced scoring. Here's a little bit of a trivia question for you. Who has led South Carolina in scoring the last 3 games?
It might be that freshman phenom, Joyce Edwards.
Do you like how I'm a good teammate? I ask these questions when that player is at the free throw line. Yes, the freshman Joyce Edwards, who went for 16 against Wofford last time out.
Well, this is why you're a good partner, because I was just about to say maybe this gets Edwards going offensively, because she only had 1 shot attempt before those 2 free throws.
Schreck has not attempted a shot yet. She's a good 3-point shooter, and she'll try it from deep. Johnson with the rebound. Edwards on the run. Beautiful feed. Johnson with the finish. Shokfist got wrapped up with Schreck. Did Johnson, so Johnson gets called for the foul.
This is how quickly South Carolina can score on a team. Point guard Raven Johnson gets the rebound, outlets it up the floor, and the post player with the assist for the 2.
Was a nail biter a moment ago, 25-23. Schreck got caught up in the air, and she gets called for the traveling violation. She's saying, Watkins, help me into that travel. The timeout's going to be called by South Carolina.
Schreck just trying to create, and that's the closeout speed of Watkins there. and she traveled.
So the Gamecocks will take a timeout with 2:04 to go before halftime. I got a chance to tell you that gymnastics season is here tomorrow night before the season opener. The SEC Now team will have their season preview, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. Then at 7:30, the defending national champions, LSU. They're ranked second in the preseason poll. They'll open the defense of their title against Iowa State at the PMAC. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern for that meet, but be there at 7 for the preview. All right, out of the timeout. Dawn Staley takes it. What's she drawing up here, Christy Thomas-Scuddy?
There's so many options on the floor. I don't really. I would love to see Edwards get going.
And they do feed the post to Edwards to try to get her going. She gets her own rebound, the putback, and one. I think you were right. They called that timeout, and they get it to Edwards, and she has a chance for a three-point play.
Well, I'm no Dawn Staley, but when you got a mismatch advantage with someone like Edwards, you want to feed her. And she missed the first one, but credit the freshman for staying with it to get that O board and put it in.
Aaron will check out. I'm sorry, Christy. Hickafil-Dropet will come on in for Missouri for the first time.
I was going to say, asked Dawn Staley before the Wofford game, what's the area of improvement you want to see? And one of them was, we got to make those shots around the rim. And you're seeing it again tonight. Just some of those gimmies that South Carolina's not able to finish, but they are staying with it and getting some second chance opportunities.
7-0 run. You can see the breakdown, starters versus bench for South Carolina, in line with what we've seen with the Gamecocks through the first 13 games of the season. Good strong drive to the basket, just won't drop for Wilson. Rebound for Edwards, the up quick to Johnson. Johnson to the basket. Watkins on the glass. No, Watkins not done yet. Edwards for two.
They put so much pressure on you. Again, the transition, you don't get matched up to box out. They get second, third, fourth opportunities.
I will say that they have gotten Edwards going here in this quarter. Shrek, beautiful release to get her first points of the game.
I mean, Eric, really the difference in the game right now is the offensive rebounding of South Carolina. 10 second chance points off of those 8 offensive rebounds.
Tessa Johnson, good first half scoring for Johnson. She's got 8 points to lead South Carolina. Slaughter slowing things down. Plenty of time between that shot clock and game clock. Slaughter goes to work with 7. Slaughter, Shrek for 3. Johnson's got the rebound. Time here. Tessa Johnson looks back. 6 seconds. Raven Johnson launches. Deep 3 is short. And Raven looked up. She didn't realize that she had plenty of time to take a couple of steps closer to the basket because she could have used it. She's laughing about it.
She was hoping Dawn would laugh about it too, but Dawn just walked away.
I don't know if she's finding sympathetic giggles from the sideline, but not much else to complain about after Missouri closed the gap in the second quarter. South Carolina goes on the run to close the first half for South Carolina. 24-3 the edge off the bench. It was an 8-0 run, 13-3 extended run to close out the half by South Carolina. Remember, Missouri got it to 25-23 in that second quarter. Sanaya Fagan with the catch inside to start the third quarter. Can't finish. Kalani on the floor with the 2 personal fouls. Randall out there with the 3 fouls for Mizzou.
I wouldn't be surprised to see some kind of backdoor action by Mizzou coming out of the half.
There's Slaughter, steps back for 3 and knocks it down. That's a deep 2, put on the line. 2, they will take a look at it at the media break. But for now, 10 for Grace Slaughter.
Well, we also started this game saying Grace Slaughter had to play well for Mizzou to have a chance, and the sophomore has shown up so far.
Knocked out of bounds by Fagan. It will be Mizzou ball.
And yeah, this is the backdoor play I was talking about with Grace Slaughter with a little step back. And the a toe is just on the line. If she'd a half size smaller, there's probably 3.
I think one of the officials indicated to the replay officials, we want to take a look at that, but pretty clear on that replay that it will stay a 2 after they take a look. Here's Judd will try a 3. That's short. And it's picked up by Brehall. Pow. Kitts looking for Fagan on the entry. Kitts, not a 3-point shooter, has attempted just 5. She'll try the deep 2, no. And a foul's going to be called on Fagan.
Ashton Judd works so hard on that box out, not only on the low post positioning defensively, but also on the box out, and gets that foul on Sanaya Fagan.
That's 2 on Fagan. Galakalani hampered by foul trouble in the first half. Picked up 2 in the first quarter, scored just 1 point in the first half. There's Kroenke with the shot clock winding down. Kroenke trying to create something, pretty creative, and a whistle. And a foul's going to be called on Galakalani. That's her 3rd.
Well, credit Mizzou, they've been able to get to the rim, and once again, you see the ball fakes. Kroenke can't get it to go, and just a little shove in the back there by Galakalani for that 3rd foul.
Fagan works on Galakalani. Strong move by Sanaya Fagan, and she picks up her first points.
Well, you can see already early here in the 3rd that South Carolina is trying to get the ball inside and establish those paint points.
Randall trying to work on Pow, backs her in. Pow stood her ground, picked up by Raven Johnson, weaving through traffic. Pow to Kitts, good job by Judd, hustling back to knock it away.
Judd just saved 2 points for Mizzou. Just the extra effort there, not giving up in transition defense.
Fagan goes to work on the reverse, and the foul called on Galakalani. That will be her 4th. Been a struggle for Galakalani to stay out of foul trouble here tonight, playing South Carolina for the first time in her Missouri career. Joined the team last year after playing at UMass, but suffered an injury after 8 games last year, so didn't get a chance to see South Carolina, and not seeing a lot of them tonight because of the 4 fouls.
Sanaya Fagan's been the vocal point of the offense here in the 3rd quarter. She had no shot attempts in the first half, and already with 2, and making her presence felt from the free throw line as well.
Largest lead in the game for South Carolina. They're on top by 12. Linthicum on for Galakalani. Judd.
Nice switch there by the bigs for South Carolina to avoid Judd getting downhill.
Fagan gets called for the foul. That's 3 on Fagan. See how Dawn Staley plays it. Does she want to see how Fagan plays with the 3 fouls? Does she want to go to Watkins here? For the moment, it's Judd at the free throw line. Ashton last year was the only Tiger to start every game. Averaged 13 points a game as a sophomore. We've seen different lineup combinations for this Missouri team this year. 5 different combinations in non-conference play. Robin Pinchton said, I just like keeping the competition up in practice. And Randall knows it right away. She gets called for her 4th personal foul and jogs right to the bench.
Really unfortunate for Mizzou, and they weren't even set up. And Randall checked out.
Randall went to the bench, but didn't officially check out of the game.
Well,
so she's
because
on the
no one was at the table.
I know, but it's just like it was a 5-on-4 right there for South Carolina. They had a power play. Well, Randall's still on the floor right now for Missouri, playing with the 4, but she's not really into the game for Missouri right now because she's got 4 fouls and she went to the sideline. Is this 5 on Randall? Who gets this foul here? Randall and Johnson battling for the loose ball. I think this is on Randall. Johnson's down and hurt. Dawn Staley coming out. She's the first one. I haven't seen, the officials are still talking about it, Christine. You can just see Roy Gilbane and Brian Garland, I think, discussing who the foul's on. Dawn Staley's going to make sure who got called for the foul here.
Well, the officials just motioned to Dawn that that's 5 on her. So it is on Randall.
Wow. So Randall picked up the 4th, jogged right to the bench saying, well, I know I'm coming out of the game, but did not come out of the game. South Carolina then had a 5-on-4, and then Randall gets so aggressive. Yeah, on that replay, clearly the foul is on Randall. You just hope Raven Johnson's okay, and she looked to be okay.
Well, I appreciate the officials. They both looked at one another because I think they realized that was going to be the 5th on Randall, but they clearly got it right.
It wasn't a ticky-tack foul. No. It was a clear foul. So Randall is done with more than 6 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Raven Johnson's at the end of the bench right now for South Carolina, so keeping an eye on her. She's got a smile on her face, which is her usual default setting, but we're going to check on how she feels after that collision. Shot clock winding down to 4. On the drive, tough take, won't go. Linthicum on the glass. Fagan tries to rip it away. Battle for the loose ball, tie up, possession arrow. We'll keep it with Missouri. All right, we're going back a couple of possessions here because you can see 4 Missouri players and they're like, wait a minute, we don't have enough players. We've got 4, and South Carolina goes right to work. Pow knocks down the 3. Randall was over in front of the Missouri bench.
Well, you saw Ashton Judd saying to the official, we only have 4, but there was nobody checking in, so the officials had no one to wave in. Really unfortunate for Mizzou. Very heads up by South Carolina.
Fagan checks out of the game. Here's Judd. Judd, strong take for Ashton Judd for 2. 11 points for Judd. She's into double figures for an 8th straight game. As Missouri will try to claw back into this one with Randall out of the game with the 5 fouls. Loose ball controlled by Missouri. Wilson. I think Wilson was determined to shoot that trip down the floor. Naya gets the bucket.
Robin Pinson said, when I asked about pace of play, she said, we need to try to score early. We're a better ball club if we can score in the first 12 seconds. Mission accomplished by her point guard, Wilson.
Pow sets for 3. Elite 3-point shooter. 3 for 6 tonight. She's got 9 points. And South Carolina's back on top by 12. Judd wants to work on Kitts. Won't drop. Pow the rebound.
I'll say it again, Mizzou is getting to the rim. They just can't consistently finish, and that is the effect of South Carolina's length and shot blocking ability.
Pow. Looking for Watkins. Now Kitts finds Watkins. Linthicum hit the deck hard. No call. Watkins to the basket for 2. Timeout called by Missouri. South Carolina stretching out their lead to 14. Dawn Staley's team, the defending SEC champions, on the road to start conference play and up double digits in the 3rd at Mizzou. But not currently looking at something. I don't know if they're trying to figure out time. I'm just going to give everybody a word of warning because Missouri took that timeout inside the 5-minute media timeout window. The next whistle, we're taking another media timeout. So I don't know what they're trying to work out right now. It was not announced, and I wouldn't even dare to guess.
I wonder if it might be a timing situation.
I mentioned that. See, I already guessed that. See, I did dare to guess.
Wow, we agreed on that.
Well, it's opening night. It's my New Year's resolution that we would agree the first week of the new year, and we did it.
That, and you forced me to shovel snow.
Well, it's odd number years you shovel the snow on the road trips. Great crowd turning out here tonight at Mizzou Arena to see the conference opener between the Tigers and South Carolina. And of course, South Carolina, it's been that way for a few years now. They travel well. I see a lot of garnet in the stands here tonight. A lot of Mizzou colors, of course, and you get a lot of people who want to see the team that won the national championship, the team that's #2 in the country, the team that's only lost to UCLA this year. Oh, by the way, they're the #1 team in the country right now. There's a lot of interest to see this South Carolina team wherever they go.
Well, you got star power, and it
Yes.
starts with the head coach and Don Staley, and then it trickles down to our players. It's an exciting brand of basketball to watch.
All right, it will be a great mystery why we had that delay, but I've left no mystery. A whistle, and we're taking a timeout. Here's current. Judd. I think Judd's played really well. She's doing all she can. She knocks down the three. She's a tough player. She does a lot of little things well. She plays with some grit, and she can produce. 14 points for Judd. Her season high is 22. Pow, little hesitation. Nope, but she was fouled, and that will get us to a timeout. 3:21 to go in the third quarter. 11-point game. 11-point game.
Job to make sure they understand the analytics, and I guarantee you that the players were a little more attentive after that loss as well.
Of course, the big difference for this South Carolina team is the big. Camila Cardozo, who averaged a double-double, the SEC Defensive Player of the Year last year. She, like Aaliyah Boston before her, would clean up a lot of the things at the back line of defense, so that was a big adjustment for this South Carolina team.
Well, I think anytime you lose a player like Cardozo, it's not just about players returning. It's about they now have new roles, and it is by committee. No one is trying to fill Cardozo's shoes. It's impossible. But what you have are players like Ashlyn Watkins, Sanaya Fagan, and Edwards, who have their own skill sets, who have their own strengths, and I think this team is still evolving in terms of best ways to use them.
Edwards gets called for the foul as she was working against Linthicum. That's 2 on Edwards. Well, we've seen Judd knock down a couple of threes. They can get her going if they can get Slaughter going. They can get her going if they can get Slaughter going, and perhaps Shrek, if she gets into the game, going from outside the three-point line. There's still an opening for Missouri, but they can't have empty trips. Watkins with the rebound. Here's Full Wiley. Full Wiley had to change her shot. Wilson. Wilson showing some speed, just couldn't finish. And look at running back the other way. It's Johnson for 2.
I always say a missed layup on one end will lead to a layup on the other end, and that's exactly what just happened. Unfortunately for Mizzou, they are now 10 of 25 shots at the rim in this game.
Slaughter's got 10. Defended by Johnson. Not much happening right now for Mizzou this trip. Inside of 2 minutes to go in the quarter. Shot clock down to 6. You need a bucket, get it to Judd, who kicks it out to the open shooter, Wilson. And Wilson has it set back. Usually it's Ashlyn Watkins that we see on the closeout, but Malaysia Fulwiley saying, this is my Swatkins impression.
Well, it was so good that everyone on the floor was looking up at the big screen to watch the highlight. It's the closeout speed of South Carolina.
Fulwiley just followed it. Like, how many rows up is that going? 3, 4? Shot clock expired. I didn't hear the buzzer, but there were zeros on the clock. And now Roy Gilbane is at the scores table like, what gives? We didn't hear the shot clock buzzer go off. Well, but it is a violation.
Don Staley got the assist with that because she was saying to him, why didn't the shot clock horn go off?
Here's Schreck into the game for Missouri. By the way, you did find out, I just want to clear things up. We had that delay when they were at the scores table before. They were going back to that play that I said, it felt like half hour ago, 40 minutes ago, to see if it was a 2 or a 3 for Slaughter. So that's why we had that delay. It was a 2.
That's what I said, right? That's what I said. I was kidding.
For Wiley, blocking foul is called. Count the basket. Fulwiley heading to the free throw line.
You see Ashton Judd's face. She does not agree with this call. Fulwiley coming in, and there is no more restricted area in women's basketball. It is the cylinder right underneath the basket. Judd may have gotten there in time.
I thought perhaps she was still sliding over there as Fulwiley was up, but like, there it goes. Our New Year's resolution is over. We disagree already on January 2nd.
Well, I'll just always say I'm right and wrong. Again, that is the hardest thing to officiate in our game is the block charge call.
South Carolina is +8 in scoring this quarter. Linthicum couldn't get it before it reached half court. Turnover.
Well, that's little, but Linthicum diving on that ball saved 2 points for Mizzou because otherwise Watkins would have gotten that ball and gone. Just the perimeter defense by South Carolina. And you saw Watkins. She was looking to kick it ahead to herself.
So was I.
I wonder why you were eager to see that.
It'd been nice to add to a certain highlight reel that she's compiling. Clemson, Kentucky, TCU, Fulwiley, 2 more. 9-0 run for South Carolina, up by 20. Final minute, third quarter. Gamecocks shooting 58% this quarter. Mizzou's been held to 33%.
Slaughter's been really quiet since that step-back jumper she hit.
Fulwiley picks it up. What will she do with it? She'll lay it out perfectly to Edwards. Made a nice adjustment to finish. It can get away from you quickly when you take on South Carolina. Down to 7. Judd. Pow picks it up, and that's the end of the third quarter. 11-0 run closes out the quarter. We could talk all you want about scoring, Christy Thomas-Scuddy, but Malaysia Fulwiley would like to talk about her defense. Why don't you help her?
We've always said she's must-watch, usually for the offense. This time she goes, I can do it on both ends of the floor. Is having herself a season already this year. If you haven't watched her, you got to tune in to watch Vanderbilt at some point. And oh yeah, here's our happy duo of South Carolina sophomores right here.
I think we saw the Tennessee team against Memphis, completely different looking team, but we knew after watching Talaysia Cooper behind the scenes that she was going to be a player right away for Tennessee, and she's someone to watch this year in the SEC as she makes an impact in Tennessee. You
heard me say time after time when we watched Tennessee practice that Cooper was the best player on that team a year ago. Unfortunately, due to transferring, had to sit the year. But she, not surprised at all by how well she's playing so far this season.
So we had a little clock malfunction before the start of the quarter. We got it worked out, and we are underway. Raven Johnson back on the floor. That's a good sign. She was on the receiving end of that collision in the third quarter. There's Watkins getting a hand on it. And it went out of bounds off of Raven Johnson, so it'll be Missouri basketball with 16 to shoot.
Here, one thing about that third quarter, at halftime, South Carolina had 12 paint points. They had 14 in the third quarter, so that's why I keep going back to. I think that was a point of emphasis at halftime for South Carolina. Get the ball inside to the bigs.
Shrek trying to find some room against Fulwiley, and Fulwiley sold the foul.
On-ball pressure defense of South Carolina forces another turnover. This time it's just Shrek trying to create a little space, and you can't do that with that off arm. You can't do it with either arm, to be accurate.
In that case, the off arm. Be a little trouble with the, I'm just gonna.
I would just give the ball up if Fulwiley was on me, so we'll leave it at that.
Watkins. Oh, there's Edwards. And a foul's going to be called on Missouri. Ashlyn Watkins showing some range trying to knock down that three.
It's in her repertoire from previous season. I mean, again, we talk about the versatility of Ashlyn Watkins. The three, coast to coast off the bounce. She can post, she can face. Oh, yeah, she can block some shots too.
Knocked out of bounds by Fulwiley. It'll be Mizzou basketball. I thought it was interesting. You were talking to Dawn Staley today about what you're looking for. It's not necessarily a New Year's resolution, but for your team. And the word you expect to hear is, well, I want people to be selfless, but she talked about being selfish, but not in a negative way. She just wants her players to, what are you trying to do? Maybe for Ashlyn Watkins, do you want to expand your game to the perimeter, show more of an offensive game? Mylasia Fulwiley, be a defensive threat presence. It's just finding what you want to do and help us to help you get to that point. And oh, by the way, by helping you individually, the team is going to benefit from those improvements that you make individually.
I think it's another example of the greatness of Dawn Staley.
So what did you I hear selfish, and I'm like, that doesn't sound right, but I'm like, no, Dawn, I'm not questioning her. I was not questioning Dawn, trust me.
Well, what she first said to you, though, I want my players to get what their hearts desire. And I was like, what? And then she expanded to what you just talked about, but be a little bit more selfish. And it is truly, I think people just always think Dawn Staley's great because she has great players. If you watch practice, if you watch how she communicates with her teams, she knows them, they know her, so she knows how to motivate them. And I think, to your point, Eric, that's her way of motivating them for the greater good of the team.
Fulwiley, good strong take. Fulwiley playing well. She's into double figures now with 10. Here's Slaughter. I think when it comes to South Carolina, it's been the theme for the last couple of years too, with so many players. How do you keep everybody happy on the team? And part of that is, well, winning a national championship is fun, so it starts right there. But it's also, well, let's focus a little thing on you, and that's going to help us. It was an interesting way to get to individual improvement and how are you going to help us, but it was more, let us help you get to where you're going, your heart's desire.
She's very honest with them. They have a lot of conversations, not just with the players, but with parents as well. And she said to me last week, she said, hey, to be frank, we've got 7 starters. Tessa Johnson could be starting. Mylasia Fulwiley could be starting. I mean, I'll throw in there, Watkins could be starting. And so how do you keep players happy? How do you keep them hungry? Well, these players want to play professionally, and I think they know Dawn Staley helps them achieve that.
That's 5 on Galakalabi, so she's done. Linthicum will come in. I thought maybe the most telling part of that conversation was perhaps encouraging a player to leave the program to find success elsewhere. And that player, in Dawn's case, was talking about Sanaya Fagan.
It was remarkable because, again, head coaches want to protect their roster. They want to keep them and develop them. And You know, I had a chance to talk to Sanaya today because I said, you're really a throwback in our game now because you stayed for 4 years, bided your time, kept getting better, and she's really excelling this season. The stats might not show it, but I have been very impressed with Fagan's game so far this season. And she said, I did it because of my faith in the good Lord, my faith in myself, and my faith in Dawn Staley.
Dawn said that she talked to Sanaya's mother about maybe she needs to go elsewhere because she just can't get the time she needs to develop and play and contribute and do what we think she can do. And according to Dawn, Sanaya's mother said, no, she's good where you are. Dawn was she wasn't sure if she had brought Sanaya into her office, but she brought her over. Sanaya, did I tell you that? And Sanaya's eyes got wide, like, am I going somewhere? And no, you're staying here, and that patience, because again, we're living in a world of college basketball where I'm not playing, I'm going to go somewhere else to play, and in some cases, you have to do it. Watkins on the putback for 2 more for South Carolina.
Well, I credit the mother, because in this day and age, sometimes the parents also think immediate is better.
Yes.
And I think Dawn Staley has shown you don't have to start to get drafted by the WNBA. And this is Fagan's belief in herself of staying, and so both to mother and daughter, hats off to you.
And Dawn thinks that Fagan's on a pro trajectory just because of the things she can do defensively, how she communicates, and how she's improved. Inside, and one, a chance for a 3-point play. First points of the quarter for Missouri, and a chance to add to it. Linthicum going to the line.
Well, Hannah Linthicum just kind of does a little rub screen there and rolls because there was a switch, defender on her backside, so she knows she has a path to the rim. Good feed to the post.
First points for the sophomore from Jefferson City. Well, remember, Mizzou got it to a 2-point game with just over 4 minutes to go in the second quarter, 25-23, but since that time, South Carolina has outscored the Tigers 38-17, 40-17. Correction for Wiley. Here's Brown. Taken away, bounced up ahead to full Wiley. 2 more.
You held your breath there, didn't you? You were waiting to see something.
Just took care of business. Brown. Kroenke trying to get away from Bree Hall. 3-pointer on the way from Brown. No, Watkins with the rebound. Here's Johnson. Raven to her left. Raven is fouled, and she'll go to the line to shoot a couple. Chance to add to a 29-point lead. A reminder, meant to on Saturday. Full slate of games, including Mississippi State hosting South Carolina and Mizzou at number 2 Auburn. And also top 12 matchup, Oklahoma in Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama, and the nightcap of the quintuple header, Texas A&M.
I mean, the schedules of the SEC have a sense of humor with starting that one off.
Well, I like tonight. Coming up top of the hour over on ESPN2, Texas and Oklahoma. They make their SEC conference play debuts against one another. Both teams in the top 10. And a reminder, we've got LSU and Arkansas coming up top of the hour right here on SEC Network.
You know, Eric, we had Mizzou early this season, 3rd game of the year, and they have grown so much. And I think this 4th quarter is a big opportunity for them to continue to evolve with the rest of SEC play ahead of them.
Miriam Dowda into the game for South Carolina. Dowda, a little too much on that entry, and it's a turnover. In what areas have you seen Missouri improve, and what needs to continue on the right path as we get into conference play for the Tigers?
Well, early part of the season, they were averaging 20-plus turnovers a game. And so I think ball security has been better. I think the execution of the offense, because it's not exactly an easy offense that Robin Mitchell runs, a lot of reading and reacting. I think they've gotten better playing together during the last month and a half. And again, reps are what this team needs. They're going to get quality reps here this evening.
Bree Hall picks up the foul for South Carolina. This closes 7 straight at home for Mizzou. They'll be at Alabama on Sunday and at Georgia next Thursday. I mentioned they've got an eye on the weather forecast because there could be some big snow coming to the area in a couple days, so that may impact their travel plans a little bit. Shrek for 3. 2 for 3. Correction, 2 for 4 outside the three-point line for Shrek. She's got 6. Kitts will try it. And a foul was called on Missouri. I think it's on Feldrapa. It is.
Well, it was part of the game plan for Mizzou. They did not want to back down from the physicality of South Carolina. Unfortunately, you're just seeing a lot of these fouls getting called in their attempt to match the physicality.
Kroenke's got it back inside of 5 minutes to go in the fourth. Kroenke. And a foul is going to be called for Wiley and Dowdo were there. That will get us to a media timeout. It was tight for a moment in the second quarter, but since that time, Mylasia Full-Wiley and her South Carolina teammates, including Dawn Staley, they've had, for us, 4:46 to go between South Carolina and Mizzou. 72-43 South Carolina looking to extend their winning streak to 7 games. And you can see since that mark in the second quarter when it was a 2-point game, all South Carolina.
We can talk about bench points for South Carolina, but it's also just that wear and tear effect that they keep bringing in those fresh bodies who are making an impact. And the foul trouble really forced Mizzou out of some of what they wanted to do in terms of game planning, but also limited some of the rotations.
Knocked out a play by Dowda. South Carolina will head home after the game tonight, and then they'll be back on the road at Mississippi State on Sunday. Bulldogs, number 2 scoring defense in the SEC, number 1 in field goal percentage defense, but I think one of the big eye-openers of opening nights, Kentucky is about to beat Mississippi State, and the Wildcats have already put 91 on the board against the Bulldogs. Shrek for 3.
Earlier today, that was the game that I was eager to see the outcome of. Of all the games today, was that Kentucky game. They're starting 5, some of the best in the league. If they can keep them on the floor, avoid foul trouble, avoid injury, Kentucky can make a deep run this year.
Georgia Amor, 27 points, 9 assists, 7 3-pointers tonight. Deja Lawrence, 28 points tonight for Kentucky. She's got 7 3-pointers, and it's gone final 91-69 the final, Kentucky over Mississippi State.
That's a lot of points. And Adele Tack checked into the game during that last net ball, just got a foul drawn into the free throw line.
So Tech at the free throw line. Freshman from Grand Prairie, Texas. Alabama's picked up a win over Florida on opening nights. 79-69 the final. Alabama's got some good veteran pieces on that team.
Aaliyah Nye, player of the week this past week. 30-point performance in their last regular season game. Obviously, Sarah Ashley Barker. Krista Curry's team is improved from a year ago.
Zay Green was the go-to tonight. 27 points. She was 12 of 22 from the field in the 79-69 win for the Tide.
What else you got for me in the SEC tonight?
Isn't that enough? You want me to do
educating
play-by-play
me.
of the other games in the league?
I ask a lot of you.
Ashton Judd. Another one to come for Judd. Good job on the offensive glass by Feldrapa. Second chance here. And Shrek is open for 3. Foul on Mizzou, so back to the free throw line for South Carolina. Still ahead for South Carolina. Home games against teams that include Texas, January 12th, Oklahoma, January 19th, LSU, January 23rd. So it's going to be an entertaining month of January at Colonial Life Arena. By the way, South Carolina has a 65-game winning streak on their home floor.
And I'll just say this, if you're a sports fan, attending a game at Colonial Life Arena needs to be on your bucket list. It is an amazing environment for a women's basketball game.
Kroenke will check out as Shokfist comes on. Paul got a little too aggressive with Shokfist. South Carolina now over the limit, so Mizzou to the free throw line. Coming up in just a couple of minutes, we'll get you to Fayetteville, LSU, and Arkansas getting set to go in conference play in the SEC. LSU, 6th-ranked team in the country. Christy talked about it before. 8 teams in the top 25 in the AP poll, 4 in the top 10. This is a very deep Southeastern Conference. You look at it, you could say, well, that team could win. That team could win. You can go down the list. Handful of teams, including this team, as Tack puts it in for 2 more.
Another freshman in this great class that Dawn Staley and her staff brought in. And that's why I always laugh when people are like, oh, they graduated so-and-so and so-and-so, they're going to be down. I'm like, no, they just keep reloading year after year.
And they keep rebounding. They're plus 20 in rebounding margin tonight. Key part of this big lead for South Carolina.
Death, taxes, and South Carolina. That's the relationship between Dawn
Do you
Staley
think that's
and her
the
point
first thing
guard.
that shows up in film?
It'll definitely be in there, I think.
Entry pass to Tack, knocked away. Battle for the loose ball. Players get locked up. Both teams still fighting here. Outcome is not in doubt, but the effort is going to be there. And a tie-up possession arrow will keep it with South Carolina. I think it's going to be the full Wiley block, and if they don't talk about it, she's going to remind everybody about it as they go along and as they fly back to South Carolina.
And you want to know what Ashlyn Watkins is going to say? Challenge accepted. You know, but
It's
I
like,
think
you've been watching me. Yeah, you've learned.
I think from a coaching perspective, though, they'll stay on them a couple of, at times, the rotations weren't there defensively. I think finishing at the rim, they'll continue to talk about as well.
Tack. Count it, and the foul. That's pretty popular with the South Carolina bench.
Tack just is working. She puts the shot up and doesn't give up. And you see Shrek thinking she's boxing out, but she's not. She's displacing her as she's leaving her feet.
Del Tech has a new career high, 7 points. Now looking at a block to her stat sheet. On the cut, trying to get it into Slaughter. Knocked out of bounds by South Carolina.
Tech rotates over, hoping to draw a charge. Has the biggest smile on her face as she gets up.
Yeah, I'm hot. I got a career high scoring. Let me throw something else in there, like taking a charge, getting a block.
Well, it's about competition at South Carolina. So when you get an opportunity to get on the floor, you better produce, or Dawn Staley will put someone else in.
Rebound by Feldrapa. Slaughter launches a deep 3. Bree Hall with the rebound. Approaching 2 minutes to play. We'll get you to LSU and Arkansas in just a moment as we wrap things up. They're starting on the app if you want to catch that one right from the opening tip. That was Dowda, who is a good three-point shooter. We saw that during her time at Arkansas, but that one off the mark.
But her game is growing as she has come to Columbia. She's doing a lot more in the low post area now in this system.
Rapa with a little fake to the basket for 2. 90 seconds to go. Full Wiley, missed it, followed it, scored it. 17 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block for Malaysia Full Wiley tonight. And a foul on Dauda. Will get slaughtered to the free throw line.
Well, by some standards, you might say Wiley's been struggling. Her last 3 only averaged 7 points a game, but she can create for herself or others at any point. Off the bounce, the pull-up jumper can get all the way to the rim. The touch when she's going full speed, and oh yeah, let's add a little defensive Swatkins to the package.
Slaughter at the line, another one to come. "13 points for Slaughter tonight. Judd with 15 to pace Missouri. Lucia Milkovic will come on for Mizzou. 1 minute to play. Edwards back on for South Carolina. Here's Tack. She's emptying out the toolkit right now.
Tack going deep into the toolbox right now.
Adrapa can't get it to spin in. Johnson tried to keep it alive. It's lost out of bounds. It'll be Missouri basketball.
I'll say this again. Mizzou's done a really good job of change of pace, meaning they've hesitated a lot. They've used the shot fakes to try to get scoring opportunities. The next phase now is to consistently make them.
Phase after that is to talk to the schedule maker in the SEC, because this is the 2nd year in a row where their SEC opener has been against the defending national champion. It was LSU last year, South Carolina this year. You jump right into the deep end of the pool, apparently, if you're Mizzou in SEC play.
You learn a lot about your team very early in SEC play. See my New Year's resolution, be more positive.
Tack adds to the stat sheet, gets the block. Flipped out to Edwards, who tracks it down in the corner. Throws it out of trouble, but throws it to Mizzou. Final 10 seconds here at Mizzou Arena. Brown knocks down the 3 for her first points of the game, and those should be the final points of this game. Number 2 team in the country, the defending SEC champions, pick up a win in their SEC opener. 83-52 the final. It is win number 200 in SEC play.